Untamed Lovers, Mountain Men of Bear Valley, Book 2, by Frankie Love and Chantel Seabrook, narrated by Teddy Hamilton and Reagan West. Untamed Lovers, Bear Valley, where rugged men find more than a safe haven. They find their mates. The gorgeous newcomer in town, Harley MacBeth, is everything I'm not. Charming, outgoing, and stubborn. So damn stubborn. Well, I guess we have that in common. I'm in bear form when I see the infuriatingly sexy woman painting by the river. In a flash, she becomes a damsel in distress. Good thing this mountain man is here to save her. I pull her from the river, kiss her sweet pink lips, and damn, I'm a goner. After a night together, I know she's my mate, my everything. But we're opposites. And unless we're in bed, we're at odds. Her past is coming for her, and even though she may be the only woman for me, she still has a choice to walk away. Can I convince her that she belongs to me before it's too late? Chapter 1. Blaine. After one hell of a week dealing with cranky tourists, rained-out tours, and my damn brother who went and got himself mated, leaving me alone to run everything, all I want to do is let my bear loose. I need to free my mind of the 101 things I need to accomplish to keep the family business afloat, and Bear Valley safe from the damn grizzlies who keep invading Kodiak land. I strip out of my t-shirt and toss it into the back of my truck, along with my jeans, and stretch under the hot sun of the late summer. I run my hand over my thick beard and look upward. Finally, the rain has stopped. I'm going to enjoy every last sunny day offered in this valley. In the woods, I'm liberated. I take off running like the untamed man I am, allowing my bear free. When my animal is loose, my inhibitions are gone. Most of my kind believe that the bear is our second nature, but I know the truth. It's the primal part of me that rules the man. Wild, untamed. This is who I am. But the responsibility of being the oldest Coleman brother, especially since my father was killed, has weighed heavily on me. That and my mother's constant pestering about me settling down and finding a mate. Not going to happen, at least not anytime soon. I like my freedom. No, scratch that, I love my freedom. I've watched other bears get shackled down with a mate, seen their lives turned into a warped, Alaskan version of Dog with a Blog. And yes, I know every episode of that damn show since my niece Finley forces me to watch it on repeat every time I babysit her. I love the kid, maybe even want one of my own one day in the far, far future. But I'm nowhere near ready to trade in my Silverado for a minivan. As I reach into the rushing river for the salmon, I pause. A new scent, one that doesn't belong out here, fills my nostrils. Inhaling, I use my senses to find the intruder. Shit. Long blonde hair is tied back in a messy bun on top of her head, the hot pink streak adding a burst of color. But the woman doesn't need anything more than her perfect heart-shaped face and luscious curves to draw a man's attention. I recognize the woman immediately. Harley MacBeth. One of the 4 women who moved to Bear Valley a little over a month ago, and whose best friend just happens to be my brother's mate. She stands 40 feet away, knee-deep in the rushing river, with a large sketchbook propped on her hip and a pencil in her hand. Her fingers move rapidly over the page, and she doesn't seem to have any clue the danger she's in. What the hell is she doing up here alone? The woman is fearless and stubborn, and obviously not as bright as I'd originally given her credit for. We've met multiple times, each time usually resulting in her telling me off for some asshole comment I made. It's gotten to the point that I enjoy watching her get riled up, watching her cheeks turn crimson and those honey brown eyes flicker with anger directed at me. It's become a game that I enjoy immensely. The sight of her perfect ass as she walks away from me, the best prize of all. Because that's exactly what she should do when it comes to me. Walk away. It's not that I haven't thought about ravishing the woman 100 different ways. I'd probably have already had her in my bed more than a few times if it wasn't for her connection to my brother's mate. Last thing I need is to get messed up with a woman who'll be invited to family dinners. And besides, the woman is too much of a spitfire for my tastes. She's loud, opinionated, overly flirtatious, and not my type in 1,000 ways. But right now, she looks different. She's poised, focused, and there's a glint of awe in her eyes as she continues to sketch. Or maybe it's just that I've never let myself really look at her. You shouldn't be looking now, my brain reminds me. A salmon jumps in the water a few feet from Harley. She lets out a small laugh. The woman has the best laugh. Shit, not what I should be thinking. On paper, she is all wrong for me. Usually my bear would have me running off into the woods, but for some reason I can't seem to move. Her damn scent fills my nostrils, and a growing awareness of her spirals like a vortex around me. It pulls me toward her, my gaze fixed firmly on her. Even if I wanted to go, I wouldn't. No way in hell am I leaving her alone out here. The recent bear attacks are too fresh in my mind. Someone like Harley has no business being out here alone. She still hasn't seen me. She's lost in her own world, sketching under the heat of the August sun. I start to turn to head back to my truck and grab my clothes. I need to check and make sure she is safe. It is my duty as a Kodiak, after all. But before I can turn to go, I feel her eyes on my thick brown fur, on my massive Kodiak stature. I'm standing on all fours, a salmon in my goddamn mouth, and I can tell it's freaking her the hell out. Her eyes widen, and her chest rises like she's taken in a lungful of air. I see the trace of a word on her lips. Help. I sense her fear, see it in her eyes, but before I can take off, she steps back and slips. She screams, both at seeing a bear so close and at falling into a rushing river. Her head hits a rock, and in less than a second, her small frame is pulled under the water. Every bone in my body shifts into overdrive. No way in hell will I let her die on my watch. My blood pulses and my heart races as I move toward her. Keeping the truth of what I am, that I am more than a man, a shifter, is a priority, but keeping Harley alive takes precedence. I can't worry about being seen or found out. All that matters is saving her. I rush to Harley's body, changing form as I move through the strong current. I pull her body from the icy water, and my heart falls. Her eyes are closed. Her body is limp in my arms, and I know she won't remember that I shifted in her presence. As I rush her to the shore, I fear she won't remember anything at all.
Chapter 2. Harley. Pillow soft lips are pressed against mine, and my mouth parts, not wanting to wake, not wanting this dream to end. My body is warm, and I feel strong hands on my chest. I feel like my lungs are gonna explode. Pain, dizziness, coughing. Someone holds me, orders me to open my eyes, take a deep breath, and then those lips are on mine again before I hear the man curse and pull back slightly. "Look at me, Harley." I do. But as I blink, I'm met with the dark silhouette of a man. With the sun above his head, I can't make out his features. All I see is his hair, dark, dripping with water, and his bare shoulders, knit with heavy, corded muscles. "Thank God." The man growls, his face still hovering above mine. I can hear the relief in his voice, but it's the heat of his body, the way my skin tingles at his touch, and the little sparks of electricity that still linger on my lips that make me feel like I'm in a dream world. I blink again, his face coming into focus, needing to see my hero, my rescuer. I recognize the man looking down at me. His eyebrows are knit with concern, and fear flecks his dark brown eyes. Blaine Coleman. Droplets of water fall from his hair onto my face as he hovers over me. God, the man is frustratingly sexy. But he's also the most arrogant, annoying, cocky man in Bear Valley. And unfortunately, also the best looking. I lick my lips. The lingering taste of vanilla and cinnamon makes me dizzy. Sure, he may have been trying to save my life, but his mouth was still on mine. My heart practically leaps from my chest as I put two and two together. Blaine was kissing me? Me, the woman he practically despises. When we're around one another, the only thing he seems to do is roll his eyes. What? Why? I sputter, but he's shushing me. Typical. I try to push away, to sit up, but those large hands still hold me in place, making it impossible to get away, which I'm glad for because even the slight movement has my head spinning. My lungs burn and my head aches, but my body reacts to his touch like it hasn't felt a man's hands on it in months. It hasn't. Not since I broke up with Chad. But even with him, I'd never felt such an intense ache in my very core, or the uncontrolled need that swirls like it has a life of its own. I hate this man, I remind myself. Hate might be a strong word, but I've never met a man who was more set on getting under my skin. You're okay. His voice is smoother than usual. Concern replaces his normal, prickly arrogance. I start to sit up, this time with his help, but the world spins around me. Blaine's arm is under me, holding me. Cradling me? What universe am I in? You kissed me. My fingers flutter to my lips, which still tingle. It's an odd feeling. You hit your head, he says, irritation creeping into his words. And I can feel his old demeanor, the one that seems to hate everything about me, push away his concern. You probably have a concussion. When he moves, his arms still around me, I realize one important fact that I hadn't noticed before. The man is completely naked, and his heavy cock digs into my hip as he stands, lifting me with him. I don't have a concussion. I stutter the words, way too aware of every inch of his erection. I can walk, he grunts, gaze focused ahead of us as he carries me down the side of the mountain. Put me down. I press my palm against his chest to push away, but the man is made of steel, and yet his skin is so damn soft and he smells so good. Shit, maybe I did hit my head harder than I thought. And why the hell are you naked? His grip on me tightens. My clothes are soaking wet, sticking to me. If I had a concussion, I don't think I'd be so acutely aware of the fact. My nipples are standing at attention. I was swimming. Saw you slip. Saved your life. His jaw clenches, and there seems to be some kind of war going on behind his eyes. Usually, that would garner a thanks. I try to gather my thoughts, but it's pretty distracting when Blaine's chest is against my cheek, when his skin smells of cedar trees and fresh air and... my eyes close. I lose track of my thoughts. I'm dizzy, all spun up or out or who knows what I am. Not sure if I care at this moment because it feels good to be in his arms. I feel myself drifting off. Stay awake. But I like this dream, I murmur, relaxing in his arms, never wanting to lose the warmth that surrounds me. You need to get to the doctor, Harley. You're barely here. His voice is rough and intense, and I have a fleeting thought about my sketchbook, my tote bag, my shoes. But then I'm in an SUV. He's wrapping a wool blanket around me, easing my seat back, and stretching the seatbelt over me. I like your face, I say, reaching a hand out to stroke his beard. Slightly aware that I sound delusional and my words are slurred. Large fingers wrap around my wrist, stopping me, and I swear I hear him whisper, Harley, damn it. So fucking beautiful. Not the time. But his mouth doesn't move, and the words seem to come from somewhere deep inside me. I close my eyes. You think I'm beautiful. Fuck, he mutters. Then says a second time, this time louder and filled with more frustration. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Then the warmth is gone. My door shuts and it's a few minutes before I hear him again. But when he gets in the driver's seat, turns on the ignition, I swear he leans over and cups his hand to my cheek, breathes me in like I'm something he wants to remember. There's a conflict in him, a war raging, one I can sense rather than see. But then my eyes close, and this time everything goes black. I wake up in the Bear Valley emergency room. I know that because I glance down at my wrist that now has a medical ID bracelet attached to it. Blinking, I look around, trying to get my bearings, but I'm alone in a curtained-off bed and have no idea what got me here until a flash of images run through my mind. The bear's dark eyes seeming to search mine, the panic in my chest, the slip on the rocks, the rough current pulling me down, under, the large hands pulling me back up. "Oh, good," a woman says, bustling into the room, introducing herself as Nurse Anna. "We were worried about you, sweet thing." "How long have I been here?" I ask, scooting up in my bed, my fingers touching my temple when the world spins slightly. "Not long at all. A few hours. The doctor took you in for a CT scan when you weren't waking." My chest tightens. "Am I okay?" Anna smiles kindly as she checks my IV. "I should think so. The scan came back clear, but I know the doctor will want to do a thorough exam to make sure your hearing, speech, coordination, and balance are all intact." "I see." I take a deep breath, trying to piece together more of what happened, realizing it could have been so much worse. Fatal. What was I thinking going up in the woods alone? I'd been hiking, trying to find the perfect place to sketch when I came across the river. Sometimes I get so into my head when I'm drawing that I forget about everything else around me, but there was no mistaking the bear or the man. "You were lucky Blaine was out swimming when you slipped." She shakes her head, clucking her tongue. "The idea of such a tragedy befalling Bear Valley just after losing Lloyd." I swallow, remembering the man who was killed by a grizzly just a few weeks earlier. But my thoughts keep going back to the man at the river. Just how much was a dream? Blaine? Anna pats my arm. "Yes, Blaine Coleman. He's right outside, been pacing since he brought you in here. He tried to call your girlfriends, but I hear they went on a trip to look for some furniture." "Right," I nod, remembering the morning. Piper, Addie, and Kate wanted to check out an estate sale they'd heard about in Anchorage. Gunner, Addie's fiancé, offered to drive his truck in case they found anything. They were going to be gone all day. Anna nods. "I'll let the doctor know you're awake. Blaine, too. He's been terribly worried." "Blaine? Worried? About me?" Doubt settles in my chest. I have every reason to think he hates me. He scoffs more than anyone I've ever met. I'm surprised he didn't drop me off and leave. Whenever he isn't making snide or sarcastic comments at my expense, he's usually trying to get as far away from me as he can. Still, I find myself pressing my fingers to my lips, remembering a kiss. Blaine Coleman kissed me, didn't he? My memories are distorted, almost dreamlike, and I wonder if I didn't permanently damage my brain. A doctor walks in wearing a white coat and even whiter hair. "Hey there, Miss Harley. My, what a splash you had." I try to smile at his obvious attempt at a joke, but all I can think about is Blaine, his lips, his eyes, his body. He'd been naked, that much I remember. After an examination, the doctor gives me the all clear. I'll be nursing a big bump on the backside of my head for the next few weeks and need to take it easy, but I'll be fine. "Thank you," I tell him. He shakes my hand warmly as if we've known one another for years. I've only been in Bear Valley a few months, but already it is beginning to feel like home. "I'll let Blaine know you're all set to go home." Blaine. Crap. I'm not ready to see him. Plus, I must look a mess. Not that I would have cared what I looked like for Blaine Coleman 24 hours ago. But now I felt his body against mine, tasted his lips, seen desire swim in those dark brown eyes. And I want more. At least my body does. My brain and heart scream a loud, hell no! I don't have anything to wear. I look down at myself in the hospital gown. Then the pile of soaked clothes in a plastic bag sitting on a chair, trying to think up any excuse to hold off the inevitable. I can wait here for my friends to... I'll let Blaine help you with those details, Harley. The doctor pats my hand. Then, before I can object anymore, he's gone. The last thing I want is Blaine here, seeing me like a drowned rat. Why I even care, I'm not sure. Blaine is the opposite of me in every way. I've already had my share of arrogant, self-absorbed men. I came to Alaska to get away from that. To get away from men who think they are better than women just because they have an extra organ between their legs. A small groan rumbles in my throat as I remember Blaine's impressive one heavy against my hip. Do I really have to like the man to take advantage of it? Yes, my heart screams despite my body's temptation. And I know the truth. Despite all my flirting and the confidence I present to the world, I've never been able to do the whole meaningless sex thing. I stand, reaching for my bag of wet clothes. I find my panties and begin shaking them out. I step into one hole, just as Blaine enters. My backside, his view. The hospital gown, not even remotely tied shut. Christ, he says, groaning. What's wrong with you, woman? I spin on my heels, indignant at both his comment and his presence. This is my hospital room? I point a finger at him. You are an intruder and I saved your ass. And it's a very nice ass. The last words aren't spoken out loud, but I hear them just as clearly as if they were. Maybe I need to have the doctor order me another CAT scan. I glare at him, but he just smirks, handing me a cloth bag I recognize from home. What's this? I ask, peering inside. I called Adelaide. He looks at the ground, not meeting my eyes and rubbing the back of his head. They're still 2 hours from home. She told me which bedroom was yours, so I just grabbed whatever I could find for you. I pull the items out of the bag one at a time and lay them on the hospital bed. There is underwear. Well, a thong. A very tiny leopard print thong. And a bra. Only it's a bra I relegated to the very back of my underwear drawer because it is obscenely lacy and ridiculously impractical for my not exactly small breasts. Every time I put it on, I'm spilling out of it. And not like in a get that girl some help way. Then there's a t-shirt dress that I wear to bed. Not out of the house, ever. Mostly because it barely covers my butt. Thanks? My lips twitch. What? His frown propels me. I motion toward the random clothing items. Just kinda interesting choices you made. He coughs. I just grabbed whatever I could find. His cheeks are red, though. Even with that burly, manly beard of his, I can see that. I step toward him, unable to help myself. Oh yeah? I press my finger to his chest. His hard, solid chest that's now unfortunately covered by a shirt. I think you were looking through my panty drawer, Blaine Coleman. He grunts, but his gaze remains locked on mine. My heart skips a beat And he lowers his head, and I wonder how the hell I got here, to being inches from Blaine's very kissable lips. And I wonder if they really taste as good as I remember. Before I can find out, he steps back and reaches for the curtain. "I'll let you change, then I'll drive you home." He turns on his heels and walks away, leaving me both breathless and utterly confused.